Hey guys, today we're going to draw a realistic looking chrysalis. And here I have what's called a reference photo. Lots of artists use reference photos to draw things that they want in their pictures. And one thing that I like to do, and a lot of artists do, is kind of look at all the basic shapes. Everything that you draw has basic shapes. And we see a lot of lines and curves. I kind of see a triangle here. Do you kind of see this triangle? And those are all kind of things that we want to look at before we start our photo, so we can have a good idea of how we're going to make this drawing. So here's your page, and where I'm going to start is this little stem right here. And we're going to just do it right here at the top. Now one thing you want to keep in mind is how big you want it to be on your page. So I kind of want it to be about this big. So that's kind of where I want to start. So you can take your fingers and kind of place it where you want to be, so you don't start drawing huge and then you run out of room, right? You kind of want to get an idea of how big you want it. So I'm going to start about right here, and I'm going to start with this little stem right here. So this little stem looks like two lines, right? And they're not perfectly straight. If you look, it has some curve to it. So we want to make sure that we do that curve. So this is the little stem, and then we're going to kind of draw that little triangle shape that we saw. You see that? But not a perfect looking triangle. It's got some curves to it, not straight lines. So we're going to go curve this way, curve that way. And then we'll see that it kind of curves down, it slopes down and has a little bump. So we want to do that. So it curves down, and then it kind of bumps out like this. And then we're going to connect this point to this point, just like that. Now this is a chrysalis, and all chrysalises do not look alike. They have maybe a similar shape, but so if yours doesn't look exactly like what I drew, then that's fine, because all chrysalises look different. Now we want to draw some of the details that are starting to form on the chrysalis. And as you can see, you can kind of see the shape of a butterfly wing. Can you guys see that? So those are all kind of little details that we want to add. And that starts kind of just here at the top, not the very top, but maybe just about here. And it kind of goes in to almost the middle, and it kind of curves in like that. And then it comes, and the rest of the wing kind of starts up here, kind of curves in like that. So this is kind of a wing shape, right? And then we want to draw this yellowish line that kind of made it look like that triangle earlier that we saw. And maybe a few more lines. I see maybe you kind of have to decide which lines you want to include in your drawing, right? And then I see some little dots that I want to add. Maybe a line here. Maybe some of these little details. However much you want to add, you get to decide. There you go. There's your chrysalis. Now, this is on like a stem thing, and I actually don't want to have it hang off a stem or a leaf. I want to make it hang off a branch. And that's the great thing about drawing from a reference photo, is that you can use what you like for your photo, but then you can change what you want to make different. And so you can do a branch like me, or you can do just a straight line down. It's all up to you. So what I'm going to do is, from this little stem, I'm going to go this way, and then I'm going to go this way. Now for here, I kind of want to do a little part of the branch that branches out. So I'm going to go down a little bit, and then I'm going to do the top part of the branch. And then when I get to the part that stems down, I want to go up. Then I'm going to draw like part of a triangle. Do you see how that looks kind of like a branch? And there you have it. There's your chrysalis. And then you get to color it. So same with drawing the chrysalis. To color it, you look at kind of the basic colors that you want to include. And I see like dark greens. I see a light green. I even kind of see a yellow. I see like a yellow line right there. So those are all colors that you want to include. Now, depending on the kind of chrysalis you have and what stage it's in, it will be different kinds of colors. So you'll have to decide what you want to include. I'm going to make this dark green. And this is how I like to color, just in like swirly motions. But everyone colors differently, and you get to decide how you're going to color yours. Maybe I'm going to do some green on the outside. And I see that yellow stripe right here. Do you guys see that? I'm going to include that. And then maybe the rest will be the light green. So I think that the more colors that you are able to see in the picture and include, I think the more interesting it looks. But if you just want to keep it simple, then you can just color it all one color. So this stem, I see that is black, so I'm just going to use my black marker and color it in. And then let's finish coloring it. So one thing I noticed that I like to include as an artist is this shiny spot. Do you see the shiny spot is actually a super light green, even gets kind of white. So I like to include the shiny spots, and you can include it or you don't have to. But to include a shiny spot, all you have to do is make like a circle or whatever shape you see that shiny thing be. You can even include these water droplets, which I'm not going to include. But then you just color around it, and that leaves it white. And then you can kind of softly color inside of it a little bit, but not all the way. And it kind of makes a shiny spot. And you can kind of get your crayons and fill it in however you want. It doesn't have to, see how mine actually looks different from the photo, and that's fine. That's what makes drawing fun, is that it's a little bit different. You get to draw in whatever style you want, and that's the choices that you get to make as an artist. It doesn't have to look all the same, because that's kind of not interesting if everything looked the same, right? So be happy that yours looks different than your neighbor's, or than my drawing, or even different than the photo. The more you practice, the more that you'll find that you can get it closer to what you want it to look like. And sometimes it's surprising how great it turns out. Sometimes it turns into, sometimes I think it's not going to turn out very good, and then when I finish it, I'm so happy that I finished it because it turned out even better than I thought. Well, I hope that you were able to enjoy drawing this chrysalis, and I will see you next time.